Good morning. This is John Essig from Simplify Solutions. Thank you all for joining us today for our webinar on SAP Financial and Sales Reporting Applications for Salesforce. With me here today, I have another gentleman named Paul Morgan, who will be actually taking you through a live demonstration of the tool later. He can give you a quick introduction of himself at that time. I will be taking you through a quick overview conceptually before we jump into the demo, exactly what it is that we've put together. Hopefully it's something that, if you decided to undergo a project like this, and we'd hope you to engage with a firm like us at Simplify, or at minimum, hopefully you can learn from some of our learnings in the past year as well. So we'll cover off from an agenda perspective, give you a very quick overview of our company. We'll keep that fast, provide an introduction to the topic, as well as a customer use case from this past year. Example application architecture, how you can bring together Salesforce and SAP Analytics and Planning into one seamless solution. And what Simplify offers from a pre-built rapid deployment perspective, so that you could get up and running fast with planning on your Salesforce data, quota planning, and analytics and reporting. And then we'll follow that with a live demo. So quickly, just to introduce myself as well as Simplify. So again, my name is John Essig. I am an application architect with Simplify. I've been in the consulting space implementing financial planning, analytics, as well as sales planning, analytics solutions for the past 10 years. I come from a corporate finance background before that. I have my CPA. I was actually a manager for a very early version of one of SAP's popular planning analytics solutions, which is SAP BPC. Most of our team comes from that similar background. Paul with me here today is CPA, MBA, and also has a background with Salesforce within the tech industry before joining us at Simplify. Simplify is a partner with recognized expertise in EPM. So what does that mean? Enterprise performance management. So that's financial planning, reporting, analytics. We have certified consultants, again, staff of CPAs, MBAs. We're based out of Oak Park, Illinois, so in and around Chicago area, and have a large consulting base in the area. A strategic solution on SAP. We have a strategic focus as an organization, really on the analytics and planning space. So that includes SAP Analytics Cloud, SAP BPC, as well as how you bring all these tools together with SAP ERP. So that means BW in many, many cases. Our customer service focus is really our offering. We provide implementation services to help companies get the value out of these tool sets. We provide training and workshops that we do throughout the year. And we also provide upgraded managed services. So if you're in a situation where you need a BPC administrator to backfill your resources for a couple months, that's the service that we provide. And we provide ongoing managed services for companies as well. And our goal as a company is always 100% referenceable customers. That's really how we do business. That's how we get the majority of our business is through references. So our market niche, we are a boutique focused consulting firm. Again, we really have the expertise in SAP Analytics Cloud, BW, BPC, how to bring all these tools together for financial planning, analytics. We're a very flexible firm. For those of you in or around the Midwest area, we're local in Chicago, and we're affordable. So we come from a background of large system integrator. So we have nice finished polished processes around PMO. We're used to working with really large enterprise companies. But again, we have that flexibility and we're regionally local. So that's our competitive differentiator. This is just a quick example of some of our customers. Like I said earlier, there are customers on here that we've worked with for 10 years. A lot of these are really long-term customers. That's how we make our living. We develop strategic relationships within companies, and You know, 90% of the companies on here have built multiple applications for analytics and planning as they've gotten value in one initial deployment, and then go and implement the next phase, and next phase, and next phase. So what we're talking about today is our SAP Analytics Rapid Deployment Solution for analytics and planning on Salesforce specifically. This could apply, have some applications to other CRM systems, but the specific offering we're talking about in accelerated content that we've built really sits right on top of Salesforce if you utilize that as a CRM system. So, you know, it's very interesting because we commonly have these conversations with companies where, hey, I've got all this data in Salesforce, and when I think about sales planning, how can I leverage that information? It just feels like there's this wealth of info that if we could get intelligence from and use that to seed our financial plan, maybe we could drive some more accuracy. Up until this past year, for me and as an organization, this is our second use case. So some of those conversations, and first one was Salesforce, have been more theoretical. So it's really cool this year to work with a large organization who, for them, it was kind of a no-brainer to make this venture, at least from a reporting perspective. And then it really made sense to bring it all together on the planning side as well, and get this experience. It's definitely provided a lot of value back to them, and I think there are a lot of learnings that the broader community can take from this. Some pretty cool applications. So first in this webinar, we'll talk about the customer use case. I'll explain a little bit what that looked like for this company. We'll talk about the offering, what we have built, because what we learned in that implementation is, hey, a lot of the data and objects and things and work that we did to build that application really applies to any Salesforce installed instance. So we'll talk about that a little bit, explain what the Rapid Deployment Solution offering is, what's included in that. So there's dashboards, there's planning templates, there's the actual modeling and consumption of the data that's included in that accelerator. And this is something that is available on the SAP Analytics Cloud and BPC. If you utilize SAP BPC only, there's some limitations on the dashboard functionality and cool stuff you can get out of Analytics Cloud, as well as some of the predictive capabilities, but still very, you know, if you are an SAP BPC shop today, may make sense for you to consider this. And then we'll cover off financial planning and analysis considerations, just so conceptually, how do you put this together? So, you know, obviously we're going to cover off sales analytics and how you can use the data and model it, but these are really considerations specific to our FP&A crowd when they're looking to bring their Salesforce data together with their financial data and create a plan for those numbers. And then lastly, we'll get to Paul's part, which is the demonstration. Okay, so just talking a little bit about the use case from this past year that we were working with a very large enterprise company up in Brookfield, Wisconsin, $30 billion market cap company, over 20,000 employees. They're in the bank ERP, card, and transactional services industry. Project duration, really the goal with this project was to automate their opportunity snapshots and reporting, their pipeline reporting, their sales reporting, their quota planning, and their forecast process. For a company that has 2,000 plus account executives, 200 plus sales roles, 10 plus divisions, and are large enough to have, you know, really a dedicated sales finance team. So this is a fairly complex, very mature organization, but they utilize SAP really, really well, as well as Salesforce. So we went live on the application for all those things, for reporting, forecast, as well as quota planning, in less than 6 months with over 100 users. The overview of that, the key stakeholders for this organization is their enterprise sales finance. So they're responsible for reporting their consolidated pipeline, for sales reporting, for quota planning, and for sales forecast for the entire organization. And again, they have a large user community and extended stakeholders that they're responsible for supporting on a month-over-month basis with the forecast that they publish up to their executives, as well as, again, with quota and sales reporting and pipeline reporting. What was their business problem? Really, they had done a great job with their existing tools. I mean, this company has an enterprise sales finance team that is very, very sharp, has built out some great reporting and analytics packages, but you can only do so much with a stick and a rock, right? And so I think they utilized Access and Excel to probably the extent possible. With that, with all the links and combining workbooks together, there was really a lack of controlled forecasting processes as well as reporting. So there's a potential for error and disconnect. They were in, quote, the Excel hell stage, right, where they're really doing a lot of these processes manually. It's very, very time intensive for their team. So, they have a large team supporting these processes, and unfortunately, they're spending a lot of time just compiling data, collecting data, and publishing it, not nearly as much time as they would like to, being a value-added service provider for their organization and shared service. And they have limited ad hoc reporting capabilities. So when you're in Excel, you can't really drag and drop and slice and dice and view dashboards, and everything you're doing is manual and is a one-off exercise. So the solution, we built SAP Planning and Analytics model that's fully integrated with Salesforce as well as SAP. It's used to develop their monthly pipeline reporting, sales reporting, used to build up their forecast, to build their annual quota plan and maintenance. So that, again, is what we were solving. That is the solution that we've provided and gone live on. This is a customer. If you're interested in going down this journey with Simplify, we'd love to get you on a reference call again with them, because they're a great customer. But we publish our webinars out to YouTube, so we are careful about logos and names we use. So yeah, this is a solution, and not only obviously is this fully integrated with SAP and Salesforce, bringing together their financial data with their CRM data. But they have a prepackaged model and application that makes it really easy to do slice and dice reporting and drag and drop and dashboards and analytics. So next, we're just going to talk a little bit about basically what we've learned from that project, and the pre-built content that we've taken and built out on our internal servers based off of the standard Salesforce objects that you would use for any implementation. Because again, what we've done is we went and we implemented this, and we went and we looked and we said, okay, well, how much of what we did is just standard across Salesforce, and how much was really, really specific to this company? And what we found, that was like 95% of what we built, we can essentially lift and shift into a pre-canned accelerator that we can use to help other companies get accelerated deployment and quick value for analytics and planning sitting on top of Salesforce and SAP. So the pre-built content that we are offering includes the data modeling for consumption and analytics model. So what you'll notice is when you try to do reporting out of Salesforce, it's not that easy, right? Just like SAP ERP is a transactional system, Salesforce is a transactional system, and they have some pre-canned dashboards, and they have dashboarding capabilities, and they have Einstein, which they're pushing really hard. But Salesforce is a CRM opportunity tracking system, and really to do complex analytics analysis and modeling on that data, you need that data staged in a cube type environment so that you can slice and dice it. Otherwise, you're always going to be asking an IT person to create a dashboard for you. So what's included in this offering is we're doing all that hard work for you to extract from the 20 different tables available on Salesforce, join them all together in a way that's consumable, and put that into a model that then your average end user can come in and just drag and drop and slice and dice the data. So that's what Paul will show you a little bit later. So we have pre-built model based on 10 standard views of Salesforce data. So these views are SQL views or SQL queries that can run on Salesforce or can run on top of SQL Server Manager. That could be hooked up to BW, could be hooked up directly to SAP Analytics Cloud, depending on what tool set you're looking to utilize this with. So the rapid deployment offering comes with these pre-built SQL views that transform your data. Includes standard Salesforce objects, sales role, sales team, opportunities, all those reporting structures that you have out of Salesforce that you just want to leverage in your analytics and planning models. It includes us bringing that over for you automatically based off of these views. Includes an example planning template for rapid deployment with Quota Planning that you can use and also tie back to your financial planning AOP process. Includes example consolidated sales attainment reporting by sales team attainment center. So these are templates and reports that you can use out of the box with very minimal configuration from our perspective. And obviously you can tweak them and really make them exactly what you want, but they come as a starting point for you to use on day one as soon as we have that model stood up for you. And that also includes these standard dashboard views. So this is available with deployment on SAP Analytics Cloud. Even if you don't own SAP Analytics Cloud, if you can buy 5 BI only licenses on SAP's website for under $1,000 or $2,000 a year. I mean, it's not hugely time intensive, and the value you get out of these dashboards is really, really high. So it comes with these 4 standard dashboards that plug into the standard Salesforce objects. So again, this pre-built content is out of the box based off of what we've seen to be common across companies. You may have within Salesforce, you're obviously going to have your opportunity of CRM data. You may or may not have sales data as well. But this is assuming you do have sales data. If not, then the reports that are based on that data set wouldn't render those values, obviously. So just to go into a little bit more detail on this pre-built offering. So like I said, first it has the SQL views, it has the templates and dashboards that are included. So what's included with those SQL views are 3 pre-built transactional views that transform your data for consumption for opportunity summary snapshot data, which would include like win counts, loss counts, for opportunity product detail snapshots, for sales attainment data, if you have that in your CRM, and then 9 views for different dimensionality in your analytics model for sales role, team, opportunity, pursuit, etc. All the views include required joins, data mappings, data cleansing, and modeling for consumption. So this has really already fully been built out, vetted, and can be used for consumption in your SAP Analytics toolset. So these views come with as part of that rapid deployment offering. As I mentioned earlier, also included from a financial planning reporting perspective, Paul will take you through the demo on these assets specifically. So we'll show example sales and forecast review dashboard, example quota planning template that you could use to upload your numbers, which can get pushed back into ECRM for simple dashboard reporting in there too, or into Salesforce, I should say. And then second, included as part of the demo that we're going to do, as well as the rapid deployment solution, are dashboards for individual quota attainment that you see on the upper right here, for in-year pipeline and forecast, and for opportunity performance and KPI dashboarding. So again, we'll take you through that in a little bit. The other thing that we had as part of our agenda for our webinar is just to talk a little bit again about how you can bring your Salesforce data together with your financial data. So first, how do you integrate with your financial plan data? How can you use, from a planning perspective, advanced predictive type functionality to help seed your financial plan? And how do you kind of stratify and going about leveraging that data in CRM? And then second, how to combine the data sets together, like I was saying, combining that CRM data with the financial data. So on the first bullet here, I'll show you a use case in a second, another customer use case, specifically looking at opportunity scoring, but just want to stop and talk conceptually a little bit for a moment. When you think about the data that you have coming out of your Salesforce system, you have certain objective qualifiers of where a deal is at from a deal stage perspective. So you could see when an opportunity is set up in Salesforce, if the deal stage, if this is an introduction, if a client meeting has been set, if you're in Redline, you can see where you're at in the process of that opportunity, which offers clues as to how close you are to actually closing that deal. So that's one really more objective field that you can use to stratify your opportunity into buckets and use historical data to assign weighted probabilities for how likely you think it is that a certain deal is going to book. So for example, if you have deal stages 1 through 6, you might say that deals in stage 1 through 3, based off of history, average a close percent of 15%. You might say that deals in stages 4 through 6 are now have a close percent of 50%. But this is how you can go about creating those weights to apply to your pipeline information that you have coming out of CRM, which then you can use to seed your financial plan. And that's exactly what the other use case we mentioned earlier does with Fiserv. They take, it slipped, So they take their opportunity, their pipeline data, they have it stratified by these deal stages. They also incorporate information on the forecast category, so just whether or not the rep thinks it's likely, if it's going to close, or what the status is from that. So they incorporate those two things together. They assign weights based off of historical data, and they use that to seed their financial plan. And the managers go in there and make adjustments to it on top based off of what they think is really going to happen. So that's really what their forecast process looks like. So for you as an organization, you have these certain objective fields, which are standard in Salesforce, deal stage, forecast category, that you can use to stratify your opportunity, create weights, apply that to your pipeline, and use that to seed your financial forecast. So that's one approach. Again, I'll talk about this use case as well, utilizing predictive data to go about scoring your opportunities to come up with those weights. Application architecture. So again, I'll cover that next here. So this is actually another example use case of integrating your CRM data into SAP Analytics and Planning solutions. This is not utilizing Salesforce because this was actually SAP. We worked with them a couple of years back. This is leveraging the SAP Predictive Analytics tool set. So we applied that tool set to their CRM, underlying CRM data, to go through the same exact exercise to try to figure out what deals were actually going to close, to use that to seed their own financial forecast, as well as to help improve their sales performance and understand what was driving deals that they were closing. And just interestingly enough, one of the things that SAP found through this process of applying the predictive analytics engine against their CRM system, not Salesforce again, they utilize their own CRM. But one of the things they found is that one of the leading predictors for figuring out whether or not an opportunity was going to close was who they had assigned from an executive alignment perspective. It really came down to the relationship and the history that they had with that client. So it's just kind of interesting. So you've got deal stages and forecast categories and all these other things. For them, what they got out of that data set was understanding that their relationships with their customers were their biggest drivers to figure out if they were going to close future deals. Interesting. So it means that developing their sales force and retaining their VPs and relationships and territories is pretty important for them. So anyway, so that was the objective of the project, is analyze that pipeline data, use that to seed their financial forecast. What they found is that leveraging this predictive model, opposed to leveraging the data that the sales force was providing them themselves for the forecast, was more accurate with no adjustments made to it. So the predictive model, without any human intervention, produced more accurate results than the many, many hours the sales force spent providing financial assumptions to their sales finance team to build up their forecast. So, interesting. So this kind of goes back to the point of there's definitely value in analytics. There's value in decentralizing your plan and automatically collecting these things, which our other use case obviously got as well. But there's value with a solution like this if you plug in predictive or even do simple regression modeling and things to understand how to stratify your opportunities and driving a more accurate forecast, which everyone within FP&A wants to be able to do. This next slide, we're just going to cover example analytics architecture for SAP, just to kind of understand, again, these are example use cases. Why are we doing this? How are companies going about it? This is actually saying, okay, what does this architecture look like? How do we bring together the financial data with the SAP data? So again, earlier I mentioned, sitting on top of Salesforce, we can create these SQL queries or SQL views. So you can hit Salesforce directly with that. You could set up a replication server where you're just essentially replicating those Salesforce underlying tables and then have the views sit on top of that, so that with those views, your data within your analytics and planning applications can be consumed real-time or near real-time, depending on your requirements. So you have 3 transactional data sets potentially. So you have your sales detail if you have your sales in Salesforce. You have your pipeline summary snapshot detail, which has your wins and counts and high-level information, and then pipeline product detail snapshot information. So these are 3 transactional sources if you're an SAP person. And then again, within these views, we have all these reporting characteristics and hierarchies and structures that are coming out of Salesforce. We're pulling that all into our business warehouse or on Analytics Cloud. We can pull that directly into the Analytics Cloud platform. And then we have our very targeted model sitting on top of that detailed warehouse that is, again, really used for analytics and reporting and consumption and drag and drop reporting. There are dimensions that are shared between that model and an example management reporting or consolidated financial reporting application. So those structures that are shared, which help make sure that the sales reporting coming out of Salesforce ties back to SAP. You have shared entity structures around attainment centers and profit centers. You have shared customer account information coming out of Salesforce with your SAP customer information. You have shared product information. So you can combine these data sets either together into shared dimensions, which have the same roll-ups, and then you can double-click depending on what you're looking to see what the detail is, what that Salesforce customer is, or you can map the data together to create kind of like one chart, for example. But again, this allows you to take advantage of all the structures that you've already built for entity, that you've built for your product groupings on SAP with those same structures with Salesforce, with this one-time mapping exercise to bring the data sets together. All right, so that being said, I've already talked too long. We'll hand it over to Paul. We'll take you through the demonstration. This is really focused on SAP Analytics Cloud solution set, which is big data ready, right? It's got HANA sitting underneath it. So within our example use case from this year, we had a dimension with 500,000 opportunities in it. We're actually pulling in line item level of detail, and our reports are taking 4 seconds. That's because it's powered by HANA. You can use Analytics Cloud for dashboards, planning and simulating, running what-if analysis. You can also, again, use it for predictive. That use case that we went through earlier with SAP was on SAP's Predictive Analytics toolset. Within Q4, according to SAP, they're releasing that same scoring capabilities that was used there on Analytics Cloud this quarter, in this December 15th. So we'll see. And then this is a mobile-first solution as well, so which is great for extending capabilities and reporting and analytics beyond finance, so specifically to Salesforce. All right. So with that being said, we'll pass over controls to Paul. And Paul, while we're doing that, you want to just give a quick introduction, background on yourself?
Yeah, perfect. So my background is in technology. I've been out in the Bay Area for a number of years and just moved out to Chicago in the last year. kind of with a focus on data visualization and kind of extending the reach of financial data to the broader audiences and making it more accessible. I've found a lot of success and value in that. And so I thought it would be kind of fitting to run you guys through a bit of a demo on a fictitious data analytics and services company, and I can show you a lot of these items and how they apply on a more general basis. To start, we can jump into SAC. We have is my screen being blocked right now?
Nope, we can see it okay.
Perfect. Okay, so here we have a current year outlook. This is pulling all information from Salesforce, giving you a bunch of different cuts on how your performance is doing with kind of a variance to the prior year. You can do prior period or whatever works best for your organization. This was fitting because sometimes there might be seasonal effects depending on what your business model is. So being able to reflect directly to a year back is really helpful on a period over period basis. We have kind of a projection of where we're going to end the year based on the product breakout, and you can see the trend and see where those are hitting. We're kind of weighted heavier towards the end of the year, so definitely a lot of focus coming up on these last couple months. But we wanted to kind of dive in deeper and see what's happening below those initial product breakdowns. We can jump in a level further very easily. And since everything is linked, all we're doing is we're just jumping a level down. We'll still get the same cut, but it can kind of help you do a deeper analysis, within, whatever dimension you want to look at, whether it be maybe like areas or products or even within your sales organization. This can be really valuable, just kind of give you that deeper level of granularity and kind of help tell a better story about what's going on within the organization. Next, we can jump into more of the planning process and what goes into that. What's great about VPC or SAC is that they give you a lot of flexibility on how you manage your information.
And Paul, just to take a step back for 1 second, so the first couple objects that we're covering off in the demonstration are more from a financial perspective, right, with that first dashboard and in this example, Quota Planning template. And then the remaining visualizations are more on the sales analytics side. So just kind of think of more from a storyboard perspective. These are more FP&A views, and then we'll jump into more of the sales analytics next.
Yeah, perfect. Thanks,
Sales
John.
and opportunity analytics.
So here we can look at our prior year sales performance and what the prior year quota was, kind of give us a better view of what we want to see for the next year coming up. And we can easily type in what these numbers will be and have all that information saved to the VPC environment and allow you to kind of quickly run through your quota planning process and input that data into the system so that you can kind of get a quick turnaround and move forward. What's also great about this is, in this particular view, we're able to bring in our AOP data so that when we're assigning out the individual quotas, we can make sure that we're fully allocating those amounts and that we have some kind of hedges that we can put additional values in if we want to over or undersign the individual quotas, but still make it to our team quotas. Now let's see, we have some KPI dashboards, as John mentioned earlier. These are great because, very actionable. These are items that are happening, within the organization, give you a kind of leading indicators and help you jump in at different levels, not just on the financial side, but also kind of pulling in standard items that you would see within Salesforce, counting the won deals within the period or deal size, or average sales cycle. These are all items that you're pulling from the CRM, and they just give you that additional depth of information, kind of help tell a better story, along with variances, so you can see how you're trending, and just tell a better story overall. and then a link back to the, sales attainment and quota setting. It's very easy to create reports and dashboards within the sales or the SAP Analytics Cloud, give you kind of drillable reports that tell at a glance what's happening, whether you want to view by sales role, by organization, by individual sales member. You have all this information that you can break out by time period, by product. You have a lot of flexibility on the cuts you want to build, and once you build them, they're there to always be able to reflect back on. And you kind of create this process flow around that, which is kind of ingrained within your organization, which can be very powerful. And here we have more of like a standard in your pipeline view. This is great because you can see, for this company, the time that this information was captured was, all the way through Q3, but, there's still an amount of time left in the year. So say if we want to know, what is left in the pipeline for the remainder of the year, this is a great look for that. You can see we have the breakout by stage, which can be really helpful. I mean, if I was going to look at this and I wanted to see, what did I actually have a chance of closing at the end of the year, maybe I wouldn't want to focus on items that were, lower in the funnel or kind of in a less mature stage. So you have a lot of options here. If I want to kind of filter those out of the view and focus on items that are further down the funnel, then I can update this view with the filters, and it'll change, everything I'm looking at. So it gives you more of a focused approach, so you can prioritize on the deals that have a higher likelihood of closing. And this is great because you can see your top 10 deals. You can view it by sales or by weighted sales. So if I wanted to kind of undiscount these and just kind of get the value that they're sitting in the CRM at, it's just a click of a button, and I just have that much more information. So now we can kind of jump back into the mechanics of this and see what is happening within the SAC and what dimensions are driving this model. So, you can see your time dimension within the SAC environment. We're using what you would see in Salesforce as your close date or estimated close date. And we're using that as our time dimension here, which is really helpful because it gives you that full picture, and it helps you see, depending on, with the discounts or with the sales cycle, you can kind of cut that data and only focus on information that's important at different parts of your analysis. You can create sales metrics. These are pretty standard within Salesforce, so you can tell, which items are closed, which ones were lost, what the TCV was, first year revenue, term, deal cycle length. These are all very operational metrics that can kind of help you track the performance of your sales organization. Let's see what else is important. So we have the forecast stage, like we mentioned. You can do opportunities in here. You can further break it out by product. You have the sales roles. To get a better look at, we can jump into, what the sales role looks like from a hierarchy perspective, where you can see, we have our total sales breakout, we have our corporate sales team, the individual team members, and, we have this hierarchy that's already created. So as we add new members and things change, this will all flow through the system, and it becomes very systemic, and your reporting will remain the same even as things are processed within the system. So it kind of takes away a lot of that maintenance aspect of it, at least from like a manual perspective.
Yeah, so per that point, again, with part of the valuable integration asset around this is the hard work that's already been done with the piping and views and SAP integration to make sure that, hey, when you add a sales role and you assign that sales role to a team, that shows up automatically. Same concept, Paul, if you could go back to the opportunity data set, what we've actually done, if you use Salesforce for sales as well, looking at the standard opportunity and sales attainment tables in Salesforce, is we've combined the opportunity data together with the sales IDs and data. So what that means is, one of the reports that Paul showed earlier is that you can look at opportunities all the way from a snapshot from prior year and compare that to what actually closed. And if you drill into the opportunity, you could see here was the snapshot as of Q1, what my forecast looked like. And then that deal actually did close in June, or it didn't close. It ended up closing in December. But you can track that through end to end at the line item detail within this application. It's all staged for you within a model, so it's not some view, flat file, Power BI type analysis where you're joining together all these tables and dumping data. You really have a self-service model here that you can use for slice and dice reporting. And that also integrates back with your financial plan and structures within SAP. So it's a very powerful reporting application that's integrated end to end with all these structures.
Yeah, and to your point, depending on your organization's frequency of forecasts, it can be really powerful just to have those snapshots and those look back periods so you can hold your reporting accountable and be able to kind of have some control over what you're reporting off of, because Salesforce data moves very fast. It's live. It's got its own use case, which is very helpful to have the most up-to-date information. But it's also, from a financial planning perspective, good to have these really nice cutoff points that you can look back on.
All right, so I think that's Paul. Is there anything else you wanted to show?
No, that's all I got on my end.
Okay. Well, I know we were excited, coming out and wanting to share some of what we've learned this year, and hopefully, content that other organizations can take advantage of. If you're getting started on your journey or just trying to understand how to bring Salesforce together with your financial plan or analytics, or just look at pure Salesforce analytics and modeling, feel free to reach out to us. This has been kind of an exciting, cool project, and we're hoping to do more along the same vein. So before we wrap up here, any questions? Lauren, I know you're kind of moderating here. Do you see any questions?
Nope, I don't see any questions. I think we're good.
Oh, I thought I saw one on here. Oh, okay, hold on. I think this is a little scrunched. There's one question. Yeah, so you see a question on how to copy paste the views into PowerPoint, email, etc. for offline sharing. There is, fairly strong collaboration functionality that's available within these tools, especially to other named users. So you can take like a quick screenshot and it'll just automatically email that through the tool, so that you don't have to worry about, getting Outlook open and doing that. So it kind of has like a Madden-esque drawing capability on it too. So if you want to share something and, draw a little playbook on it, like Madden, Madden would, you can do that type of thing. So that's kind of neat. And it is mobile ready. So when you share stuff like that, it will go through to, integrated with like the iPhone apps and stuff like that. So, so there's one question. If that didn't answer your question, feel free to reach out to us direct. Other question as far as time to deployment. So for just the analytics itself, to utilize this out of box, without any customization, just to kind of start to understand the value you can get out of the solution. We're talking, weeks, not months and months and months. To build this really specific to your organization's requirements, obviously that's going to be a little longer deployment. To build it from scratch, we did this in under 6 months and went live successfully. So for a very large organization, so we're still not talking, a year, 2 years here. Okay. Well, I think that's it. So again, feel free to reach out to us any questions. Otherwise, thanks for joining and have a nice day.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good one.